Europe's strangest unsolved crime. Yep, we're gonna be watching that from Fern today. Let's get it. We're gonna see what this crime is and when did it happen, and of course it happened in Europe, but let's see how did it happen.
This is the story of Germany's strangest unsolved mystery.
I always like unsolved cases, unsolved mysteries, unsolved, crime scene. I mean, they are kind of sad and horrifying and scary, but bruh, they're cool.
This is the story of Germany's strangest unsolved mystery.
Wir befinden uns jetzt in dem Arrestzellentrakt. Gleich die erste Zelle rechts wurde durch den Schwarzafrikaner belegt. Und
okay.
Ja,
set himself on fire.
On January 7, 2005, a man was found burned alive in a police cell. The police claim it was a suicide. The man was alone in his cell and set his mattress on fire. But he was restrained. His wrists and ankles were shackled. The mattress was fireproof. And he had no lighter on him to ignite a blaze. So how did he burn to death? Nearly 20 years have gone by and we still don't know what really happened that day. Activists, lawyers and non-profits are still trying to uncover the truth. In this video, we're diving into the conflicting stories, the unanswered questions, and the evidence that's kept
this was the guy,
alive.
Huh? R.I.P.
Pay close
dude.
attention. Every detail matters.
Alright, pay close attention. W music. Ooh. W animation. As always. Let's get it. Tom, you killing it. Oh, Marcel, you killing it. Unsolved mystery. Germany's okay. Why always
Dessau
are Germany,
is
man?
a city in eastern Germany. It's early morning. Let's start with the version of events as told by the local police.
Okay.
Shortly after 8 a.m., the phone rings at Dessau police station. Beate
5.
H., the officer in charge of patrols today, picks up. A woman from the city cleaning crew claims that she and her colleagues are being harassed. She asks for police assistance. Beate H. calls patrol officers Hans-Ulrich M. and Udo S. She tells them that 4 women from the city cleaning crew are being harassed by a foreigner, quite aggressively even.
Whoa.
She also says the man has tried to grope them. Patrol officers Hans-Ulrich M. and Udo S. arrive at the scene. A man called Uri Jallo is standing about 10 to 20 meters away from the women, leaning against a wall.
Right.
He seems to have been partying and is visibly drunk. The officers request to see his ID, but Jallo refuses.
Of course.
They handcuff him and put him into their patrol car to confirm his ID back at the station. Jallo is still handcuffed when the 2 officers bring him to the medical room in the station's basement. They search him and check his pockets. Jallo resists, banging his head against the wall and table in the act. In his pockets, they find a temporary residence permit. It's crumpled and the birth year is illegible. The officers decide to detain him until they can confirm his identity.
Okay.
Dr. B,
9:15
the
a.m.
on-call doctor, arrives to take a blood sample. Jallo resists again. The officers pin him down on the stretcher while the ME draws his blood. His BAC is at 2.98%. That's extremely high, enough to make him lose his conscience or even induce a coma. The 2 men are joined by a 3rd officer, and together they take Jallo to holding cell number 5. They handcuff him to the bed frame by his hands and feet because they're worried he might harm himself. They step out of the cell and lock the door, leaving Jallo alone.
Okay.
Udo S. and Hans-Ulrich M. finish up some paperwork before heading back out on patrol. Shift supervisor Andreas S. and his deputy Beate H. are informed by a colleague that someone has been restrained in cell number 5. Beate H. turns on the intercom to monitor the inmate's activity. There's no video surveillance. Uri Jallo repeatedly asks to be uncuffed. She tells him to calm down. Beate H. hears a rattling noise through the intercom. She assumes it's just routine movement during a cell check and doesn't think much of it.
Okay.
Shortly after, Beate H. and her colleague SCH perform a cell check. Yellow seems to have calmed down. They lock the door to his cell and head back upstairs. Over the intercom, Beate H. hears Uri Yellow call out again, demanding to be uncuffed. Andreas S. is about to make a phone call, so he turns the intercom volume down. Beate H. hears a strange noise, like something rustling and splashing, followed by a piercing beep. The fire alarm.
Oh.
Andreas S. assumes it's a false alarm and turns it off.
Are you serious? Come on now.
Yellow starts yelling for help. The fire alarm goes off again.
Okay, now you gotta be
right. You
right.
can hear the crackling sound of flames.
Ah.
Beate H. tells her superior, "Go check already. Move."
Yeah.
According
Why you
to the
so
report,
lazy,
the
bro?
last words Beate H. hears from Uri Yellow are, "Untie me. Fire."
Damn, dude.
Andreas S.
Oh.
heads down to the basement and opens the door to cell number 5. The fire is intense, and the room is filled with thick black smoke.
Whoa.
Beate H. calls the fire department, saying they could use a fire truck.
There's
By
no
the
fire
time the
extinguisher?
firefighters arrive, Yellow is already long dead. The mattress has burned to ash. His body is charred down to deep skin layers. After the fire, the criminal PD in Stendal, a city close by, picks up the investigation. Despite standard protocol, they do not consult a fire expert. The crime scene crew sweeps up the debris from the fire. They will later find a lighter in the ashes. Witnesses are interviewed, evidence is collected. The state criminal police sends a videographer to document the forensic process.
Okay.
At this point, the police are already convinced that Yellow has set the fire himself.
Gleich die erste Zelle rechts.
So this is the actual video.
Durch den Schwarzafrikaner belegt und hier hat sich auch angezündet.
According to their theory, Yellow must have torn the fire-resistant coating of the mattress and used a lighter to ignite the flammable foam inside. A lighter the officers must have missed during the initial search.
Could
And he
be.
must have done all this with his limbs spread out and his hands and feet shackled to a metal bed frame. They believe he was trying to get their attention, so they would uncuff him.
Yeah, but it went the other way, the wrong way. I mean, the fire spread, I guess, too quickly. He didn't thought that it would happen. I mean, he will just light it up and they will see or hear, or they will come running and take the handcuffs off. Okay.
Then the fire must have gotten out of control. That same day, Uri Yellow's body is transferred to the forensic medicine in Halle. The coroner there finds no sign of violence inflicted prior to the fire. Yellow's skull appears to be intact. This is the official version of the events. It's the
2 years
version
later.
recounted in exhaustive detail at a local court in 2007. The trial is supposed to shed light on what happened that Friday morning. Almost all witnesses are government officials, most of them police. The trial lasts 59 days, stretched over a year and a half.
Damn.
Standing trial are Andreas S. and Hans-Ulrich M. S. faces charges for ignoring the fire alarm. M. allegedly failed to find the lighter when he patted down Uri Yellow. They
Okay.
are both acquitted.
Good.
The trial raises countless questions. Witnesses either clam up or contradict themselves. Memories are foggy, and crucial pieces of evidence have vanished in mysterious fashion.
Are you serious?
From the very start, it feels like everyone involved is closing ranks and covering for each other. Even the judge is appalled. What we have seen here was not a fair trial. Police officers who should be upholding justice have prevented any chance of finding the truth. None of those officers who lied to us here should be entitled to wear a badge in this country. About
Wow.
4 years later, there's an extensive retrial at a regional court. This time, Duty Chief
2010.
Andreas S. is convicted of involuntary manslaughter and fined about $15,000.
Oh.
The verdict sends shockwaves through Germany. Activists, journalists, and legal experts pick up on the case. The initiative in memory of Uri Yellow, established back in 2005, gains wide support.
Oh.
Today, there are thousands of pages of investigation files, court documents, expert reports, parliamentary inquiries, fire experiments, forensic exams, and filtered court letters. Medical examiners, fire experts, chemists, radiologists, toxicologists, and criminologists have all pored over the case.
Okay.
Their findings fundamentally contradict the official version of events as stated by the police. Almost every detail in the official story is riddled with inconsistencies, misconduct, and unsolved questions. So let's take another look at what happened that morning on January 7, 2005.
Yeah, who was behind it? Was it really him? The other version.
According to the women on the city cleaning crew, Uriallo followed them and asked if he could use one of their phones. At one point, he tugged on one of the women's backpacks. Over the phone with Beate H., they described feeling, quote, harassed. But when Beate H. relays this to the patrol officers on the phone, she exaggerates. She says the cleaners have been massively harassed and claims Yellow was trying to grope the women.
Aus dieser Nachricht, läuft uns die ganze Zeit hinterher, ist dann bei der Polizistin, die den Anruf
I hate people like that. I really hate people like that. Like the people who you tell something and they wanna tell the same thing to someone else, but they exaggerate or make it 10 times worse. I hate it like that, man. I mean, if your friends or everything is like that, that's a different story. But in these cases and like that, as your job, especially when you're on a phone with someone like that, nah, come on, you gotta say word to word what's going on, you know? You cannot make up shit.
Da hat man fast schon Sexualdelikt vermutet.
Gabriele Heinecke has represented Yellow's family as a lawyer and followed the case for over 10 years.
Wow.
The officers arrive at the scene. They find Yellow standing several meters away from the women, leaning against a wall, completely drunk. The situation has already diffused. Still, Hans-Ulrich M. and Udo S. approach Yellow and say, "Passport, amigo." He refuses. Both officers are tall, while Uri is slim and only 5'7", about 170 centimeters. He doesn't stand a chance. He is forced to the ground and pushed into the patrol car. Legal experts will later conclude that this has been an unlawful detention. The officers should have provided a reason for demanding to see his ID. They're also not allowed to use force on anyone without prior warning. According to the police, Uriallo banged his head against the wall and table. There will in fact be a blood stain found and attributed to Yellow.
Yeah, that when they first said about him hitting the table, I was like, did he injured himself at that time or not? Like,
but the blood is never tested to see if it matches his DNA. And oddly enough, it is found on the leg of the table. The police also claim they had to hold him in custody to confirm his ID. But the truth is that at this point, Yellow's complete details were already recorded in the custody log, including his supposedly illegible year of birth. Around this time, shift supervisor Andreas S. reaches out to the on-call Dr. B. The exchange is documented in the court record.
"We need you to come in."
"What's up?"
"Just a blood test."
"All right, I'll handle it."
"You'll get to pinch a black African."
Holy shit. I can never find a vein with these dark-skinned folks.
Is it really that's what they were talking about? That's what they were saying in the phone call? Damn, there is racist MFs, dude.
"Well, bring a special needle then."
Will do.
Special needle? What the hell?
Dr. B proceeds to draw blood from Yellow. Udo S. and Hans-Ulrich M. insist that Yellow was extremely aggressive. They claim he put up such a fight they had to restrain him so Dr. B could go through with it.
Okay,
Three
whatever.
other officers, who were partly present during the scene, will later contradict this account. According to them, there were no disturbances.
Okay, these two guys who are really sick in the head and the doctor, I don't know what is with these three people. Everyone is normal other than them, but it's good they got fired.
During the first trial, even Dr. B himself confirmed things went smoothly when he drew the blood. During the retrial, however, he refused to testify.
Wow.
Physically restraining someone and holding them down to draw blood without their consent is a serious violation of basic rights.
Wow, man, that is messed up.
And doing so without a formal warrant is straight up illegal.
Yeah, so they got this guy outside of club or somewhere outside where he was. Then they were asking him about his passport or identity, which he refused. Then they arrested him, brought to police station, put him in handcuffs as well, put him on this bed, tie him up, and then take his blood. That is messed up.
Uri Jallo should have been released by now. Instead,
Right.
3 police officers escort him from the medical room to cell number 5. They proceed to chain his hands and feet to the bed. Beate H. hears some clattering sounds over the intercom. She assumes it's a routine cell check. However, no cell
Assume,
inspection
huh?
is recorded in the custody log for 11:30 a.m.
Right.
At the same time, Officer Thorsten B. heads down to the custody area, looking for colleagues to join him for lunch. Through the open door of cell number 5, he sees Udo S. standing at the head of Uri Jallo's bed and Hans-Ulrich M. patting down his thighs. He asks them if they want to grab lunch with him. They respond by saying they're still busy. Udo S. and Hans-Ulrich M. will later deny this encounter.
Oh.
They claim to have been out on patrol at that time.
Oh.
All patrol activities are usually logged in a duty
Yeah.
logbook.
Yeah.
But the log for that day mysteriously disappeared. Beate H. and her colleague
Shady
SCH
ass
from the
guys,
traffic
dude.
unit conduct a cell check. Jallo wants to know why he is shackled, to which Beate H. replies something along the lines of, "You know why." She later recalls noticing that his pants were unbuttoned and pulled down a little, although his hands were chained in a way that would have made it impossible for him to undo his pants himself. She
Yeah.
also spots a puddle of liquid right next to his mattress. It's not urine. Despite these strange details, she wraps up the inspection and leaves the cell.
So whole goddamn police station is just sus. Just messed up, corrupted. That is so bad. Just because one black guy, or guess all these guys saw a black person first time or something like that's what I feel like according to whole this investigation, man. The way they were on the phone call with the doctor, the way they are handling him, like he's gonna just get up or he's an animal or something, the way he's chained right here. I don't get it. Like they are treating him so bad, like he did a mass murder or something like that.
According to the police version of events, this is when Uri Jallo must have started tearing apart the mattress and setting it on fire.
Dieses Polizeivideo soll zeigen, dass das zumindest
I mean, not gonna lie, it's not hard to put yourself fire on that mattress in that position, even handcuffed or even chained, you can say. It's not hard. It have few, at least 1 foot, maybe you can say, length of the chain. So you can kind of, if your arms are down here and you're chained like that, you can kind of pull out a lighter and put yourself on fire easily, or not yourself, the mattress on fire. You can easily do that.
möglich war.
But was that actually possible? Could someone really start such a
But not gonna lie, the way these guys are handling him, the way these guys are treating him, it could be anybody else. It could be anybody else other than him, I would say. I don't think so he did that to himself. It was those other guys who are treating him like that, or who were in the jail doing some random investigation on him, random checking on him while he was handcuffed. The way his pants were down, there was some random liquid on the side of the bed. Why? Where did it come from? They already hate him, so I'm sure someone will just go and light that thing up.
devastating fire with just a simple lighter and some mattress foam? This experiment was commissioned by the Initiative in Memory of Uri Jallo and conducted by Irish fire expert Maxim Smirnu. He recreated the exact conditions in cell number 5. After more than 1 hour of combustion time, this is how the cell looks like. And this is what cell number 5 in Dessau looked like after the fire.
Oh.
Experiments like these often use pig carcasses. The way they burn closely resembles the fire behavior on human bodies. In the test, the dummy body sustained only minor burns to one of the legs. But Yellow's body was charred down to deep tissue layers. We'll spare you the images. Also, the experiment produced white smoke, while in cell number 5 there was thick black smoke with heavy soot deposits. So how could the fire have gotten so intense? In another test, the experts doused a pig carcass with 5 liters of petrol before setting it on fire.
That could do that too, maybe.
Go away.
Okay, now you see the black smoke. Nah, no way. Don't tell me they put him. They threw gas over him or petrol on him. Then they put him on fire. Damn.
The resulting burn patterns were the most similar to those in cell number 5.
Right.
The experts concluded that it was most likely that petrol has been used to accelerate the fire. Beate H. claims Uriello's last words were, "Untie me, fire." But that is highly doubtful. The autopsy showed no carbon monoxide in Yellow's body. If he had burned alive, he would have inhaled the poisonous gas. Neither did the examiners find any noradrenaline, a hormone automatically released by the body under physical stress. Both findings suggest that Yellow was unconscious when the fire started. But
so he died in sleep or something?
Unconscious before the fire. After all, the initial autopsy reported no injuries. In 2019, researchers at Frankfurt Universal Hospital used advanced technology to reassess the CT scan images from 2005. This time, the images revealed that Yellow sustained multiple severe injuries before his death. A broken nasal bone, a fractured skull, a ruptured nasal septum, and a broken rib.
Damn, dude.
All these findings strongly suggest that Yellow was physically abused before his death.
Yeah.
According to Officer Andreas S., this is the first time he opened cell number 5 since the fire broke out. But a team at British research group Forensic Architecture thoroughly reconstructed the smoke patterns in the cell. Their analysis suggests that the cell door must have been opened during the fire.
Yeah. Like, why the black thing is not on the door if it was closed, you know?
This directly contradicts the account of Andreas S. The police claim that Uriello used a lighter to set himself on fire. But when forensic investigators examine cell number 5 after the fire, they do not find any lighter in the debris. It only turns up 3 days later, when a bag of debris from the scene is re-examined. To this day, no one can explain how it got there. Also, the lighter was melted. Fire experts point out it would have exploded if it had been in.
Not gonna lie, I was literally thinking in the start when they said they light him on fire and they found a lighter. I was like, lighter have a gas in it, so if you really throw it in fire, it usually, you know, boom, it like kind of explodes. So why was lighter still there, or how was lighter still there?
In the fire. Upon further inspection, investigators found clumps of red fiber fused into the lighter's plastic. If the lighter had been at the scene, these fibers should have matched something, anything from the cell.
Did someone put the lighter later there after he died and everything? Then you put some melted lighter or any lighter there, and it'll melt a little bit more, and it would kind of look like he did him himself, you know?
They didn't.
Das für mich der schlagende Beweis, dieses Feuerzeug war nie in der Zelle.
So, was that lighter ever in cell number 5 or not? That should have been easy to determine. The 2-hour crime scene investigation was supposed to be fully documented on tape by videographer Jens W. from the State Criminal Police. But his recording simply cuts off after just 4 minutes. Jens W. will later claim there was a power outage.
Nah, stop the cap, dude, stop the cap. I knew they're gonna do something about this video. They will not let that thing run all the way through, you know. They want something, they want to hide all that. They want to hide the real thing. So of course they will give some kind of random excuse, which was here. So bad,
His statement
dude.
cannot be corroborated by other witnesses. Besides, the camera had a working battery. That very same day, shortly after the recording, Jens W. goes on sick leave for 2 months,
No way.
supposedly due to an allergy. In the days following the fire, key pieces of evidence disappear under mysterious circumstances.
Bro, the whole department is messed up, dude. Whole department is corrupted as hell. Not a single person is right or, doing their job how it should be done.
Files containing entries related to Yellow are deleted from police computers, including their backups. A log of the 70 people present at the station that morning, gone. Photos taken by officers on the day of the incident, missing. Surveillance footage from the station hallway simply vanished. An unlawful arrest and
That's
blood
not
draw,
normal.
a blood stain that was never tested. An unnecessary detention to confirm an ID already confirmed.
This
and
whole case is
documented.
upside down.
Violence used to restrain aggressive behavior that no one else has witnessed. Officers who claim to have been elsewhere but have been seen on site.
They were
An
literally there.
unidentified liquid on the floor.
Very
Hands
weird.
pulled down for no apparent reason.
Very
a
weird.
lighter that cannot be linked to the crime scene. Fire behavior that can only be replicated with
Like
several
gas.
liters of accelerant.
Ah.
Multiple bone fractures suggesting severe physical abuse. A cell door said to be locked that must have been opened during the fire. A CSI documentation video mysteriously cutting off when things get serious.
Yeah, everything
a
is
baffling
bad.
series of errors and countless items of conveniently missing evidence. Nearly every expert who has examined the case agrees. Uriallo cannot possibly have set himself on fire, which would mean that someone else must have done it.
Yeah. Who is the mystery
When
man?
you put together all the pieces of information,
Those two people who are in charge that day are the other responsible one. They should be given some kind of punishment for sure. The one who are handling all this radio thing, like the one who was saying, oh, that's nothing, or the one who heard his last words, untie me, fire, those words, that person, and there was another employee with her or him. Those two persons should be the
a
one
chilling and deeply
punished.
unsettling picture begins to take shape. Here's what might have really happened on the morning of January 7,
Let's see.
2005. Uriallo, heavily intoxicated, was taken to the police station under a false pretense. While in custody, he was brutally assaulted and suffered multiple fractures,
Yep.
possibly leaving him unconscious. Then, somebody poured accelerant over him and set him on fire. But who? And why? Shift supervisor Andreas S. turned down the fire alarm, twice according to Beate H's initial testimony, once
Nah.
in his own account. Either way, 11 minutes passed from the first fire alarm to the moment he finally checked on Yellow.
Those 11 minutes were hella important, and in those 11 minutes, all that thing happened. All that thing went down. Someone probably went in that cell, or he was in there. He was with them, included with them, and he was told, you turn off the alarm, we're gonna go, and probably it's gonna ring again, and then you will come check. And by that time he would be gone. In those 10 minutes they would go, put the gasoline, all that, light him on fire, just leave the door open, and he goes after, I guess, 10 minutes, and that poor guy is gone, man. He's all burnt.
According to the public prosecutor's office. But it wasn't him. He was in the second floor control room when the fire happened.
Okay.
But he probably knows more than he's letting on.
Yeah.
Then there's Beate H. Her testimony changed several times. She implicated her superior Andreas S. in the first trial, only to later recant after meeting with him and his lawyers. She insists she heard Yellow's cries for help through the intercom while the fire raged.
Okay.
Although he was most probably already unconscious by then.
Yeah.
She too might know more than she's letting on. Hans-Ulrich M. was the one who arrested Uriallo, searched him, handcuffed him to the bed in cell number 5.
Okay.
One of his colleagues claims to have seen him in the cell shortly before Jallo's death, but M insists he was out on patrol.
There.
He was acquitted during the first trial, despite having no verifiable alibi to back his story.
Okay, good.
Udo S. was the first officer to approach Uriallo on the street and demand his ID. He was restraining Jallo in a headlock during the patrol car ride. Witnesses claim to have seen him in the cell with Hans-Ulrich M. just before Jallo's death. And just like his colleague, he has no verifiable alibi for the time of the incident. According to German press, 8 years later, a source informed the Dessau PD that Udo S. had previously worked as a firefighter specializing in pyrotechnics. Supposedly, he could have known exactly how to quickly start a fire intense enough to leave no trace.
Yeah, he was the one. I mean, he was the mindset behind whole thing, you know. He kind of knew this causes it, this is how long it takes for it to start or finish, or which thing can work in this situation the best, all the stuff,
Traces.
you know.
No one ever followed up on that lead. Instead, the article reports there was a defamation lawsuit filed against the source. Andreas S. was fined, and Hans-Ulrich M. acquitted.
Okay.
But oddly enough, no murder investigation was ever launched against Udo S. But there was someone else. Apparently, there was an unidentified male present at the station during the fire. One officer recalls walking past someone at the stairwell, a shadow. The man appears to have been watching the fire brigade arrive from the control room window. Court documents only refer to him as another man with glasses.
What the
In
hell?
2013, an informant reached out to one of the journalists following the case. He said he knows who is responsible for Jallo's death. He
Okay.
claimed the perpetrator entered the station's custody area through a back door. A door secured with a code that only police officers could know.
How he
According
knows?
to the informant, the whole thing was about racism and sexual humiliation.
That's what it looks like.
Someone wanted to teach Uriallo a lesson and went too far. Could this have been a possible motivation? To teach a heavily intoxicated and utterly defenseless man a lesson? In fact, the Dessau PD appears to have a troubling history of eerily similar incidents.
The motive.
In 1997, a drunk engineer named Hans-Jürgen Rose was picked up by Dessau police after a minor car accident.
Okay.
Hours later, he was found severely injured just 200 meters from the station and later died in the hospital.
Oh man.
The coroner determined he had been restrained and struck repeatedly with blunt objects.
Whoa.
5 years later, in 2002, a heavily intoxicated man
Another
named
case.
Mario Bichtemann was taken to the same station and placed in the same holding cell number 5 as Uriallo. Hours
damn.
later, he was found dead with a fractured skull.
What the
Forensic
hell?
experts concluded the injury was caused by a deliberate blow shortly before his death. Neither case
Damn.
was ever solved. What is going on here?
Yeah, why all these intoxicated guys are dying? I mean, they're getting arrested, but dying in literally police station, not even outside.
During the second trial, one Dessau PD officer testified that his colleagues regularly arrested and detained drunk individuals to teach them a lesson.
Yeah, lesson what, dude? Lesson that you are dead today?
The informant later claimed it used to be a tradition at the station to tie unruly people to the canteen pillars and beat them. They called it a disciplinary measure, carried
the
over
hell?
from the GDR era.
What kind of
The
discipline?
activists from In Memory of Uriallo believed there was a clique or group of officers within Dessau PD that had a habit of losing their temper and beating people to death.
Nah,
Did
those
Uriallo
people
die
should be
because of this
fired,
supposed
man.
sadistic culture? And could the fact that he was black have played a role in all of this?
You'll get to pinch a black African.
Yeah, remember this.
Black African.
Huh.
The term keeps coming up over and over again. It's striking how, in witness statements, the officers almost exclusively refer to Jallo as the Black African. They knew his name, and yet they chose not to use it. Despite glaring inconsistencies, missing evidence, and expert analyses debunking the official narrative, authorities have stuck to the claim that Jallow set himself on fire.
Oh
the
my
Dessau
god.
public prosecutor Volker Bittmann initially seemed like a rare beacon of hope in the case. After hearing expert findings in 2013 suggesting the fire in cell number 5 couldn't have been started without large amounts of accelerant, he appeared determined to uncover the truth. Bittmann commissioned new fire experiments, which also spectacularly failed to replicate the fire in the cell. A panel of experts later concluded that the theory of self-immolation was scientifically untenable. Someone else must have started the fire.
Yeah, someone else,
But just
for sure.
as this revelation emerged, Bittmann was removed from the case. The
Oh,
investigation was handed over to another prosecutor's office, which quickly shut it down, citing insufficient evidence of third-party involvement.
you gotta
Key
be kidding me.
findings, like the unexplained lidar and forensic inconsistencies, were dismissed or ignored. Any momentum to
So that they saw like, this guy might mess us up, he might put us in the behind the bars, or something like that. So we need to stop this guy, we need to shut him down, or we need to remove him. So they tried their best to remove him, got a corrupted guy on his position, and he was like, nothing, it's blah blah blah, just finish this case, cancel this case, finished. All this finding, all these images, all this stuff you got, all the evidence you got is not enough, just we cannot move on with this case. Okay, finished.
toward accountability was lost. The deeper problem, though, lies in systemic issues. Police were tasked with investigating police, leading to predictable issues. Experts point to a culture of Chorgeist, a fraternity among officers that leads to stonewalling and mutual protection. Studies show that possible misconduct by police is rarely prosecuted. Only 2% of allegations against officers result in charges, and convictions are even rarer. And there's a clear racial dimension. The UN has highlighted systemic racism within German law enforcement, stating that institutional biases have repeatedly hindered justice for victims of African descent. In Uri Jallow's case, no one has been properly held accountable to this day.
Wow.
The initiative in memory of Uri Jallow and his family continue their fight. In February 2023, Germany's Federal Constitutional Court officially closed the case. But Uri Jallow's family refuses to give up. In July 2020, February 2023, Germany's Federal Constitutional Court officially closed the case. But Uri Jallow's family refuses to give up. In July 2023, they filed an appeal with the European Court of Human Rights. The fight for justice presses on.
And I hope they get their justice, Epilogue.
2 German reporters decide to visit Udo S. at his home. The whole world is in lockdown because of the pandemic, so they speak in his front yard. They ask him about an inconsistency in the case, one of so many. He repeatedly says, "I'm at peace with myself, and I didn't do anything, I swear."
This case was kinda crazy, ain't gonna lie. This was very different than the one we have seen before, and very crazy and very sad, you can say, man, because the way he was treated from start till the end, and the way the government or all these official people handled this case sucks. Is really bad, really bad. And also they showed that how many other cases were also done like this, how many other people were also treated like this, who are especially intoxicated. Okay, so I guess they go out for a drink and they do some crazy behavior, or the behavior which shouldn't be done in a normal way, and the police is called, and then those 2 police officers come from that one particular police station, and they take them, tie them, beat them with random object and belts and metal rods, you can say, stuff like that. And that's their way of treating them or punishing them. Damn. And it's happening in Germany. And I don't know, many times I have seen cases or stories from Germany, because and all of them are really crazy, really loco, honestly, for real. But yeah, RIP to this guy. And for sure I am 100% honest that someone else did it. It was not him. For sure it was not him who set that mattress on fire and would cause his death. It gotta be some police officer or the mystery man, the one with the glasses. Maybe he did it, or then if not, then it gotta be those two police officers. And it's really sucks that it just got closed. The case is closed for so long, and the government really treated this case as like a very small thing, and all they were trying to do was, okay, just finish it, cancel it, or just delay it as much as you can, and later suddenly we cancel it or close the case. But anytime someone will find evidence or try to prove them wrong, they would just fire that person or make that person step off their position and bring a corrupted person on there, and then they will try to finish or close that case. And that's how it happened. But yeah, RIP to that man. And man, I hope nothing like that happens to anybody, and or there are no more cases like this, especially in Germany. But yeah, very good, very amazing visuals, and really good overall documentary from Fern. But yeah, that's it for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one.